I haven't touched on it all morning, and I know some of you are dying for me to at least comment on it, and that is Jeffrey Epstein. So let's talk about Jeffrey Epstein. You may have seen the story here from yesterday. This was all over Drudge Report because, Drudge Report lost its mind. Their headline is still this morning, Epstein haunts White House. So here's what happened yesterday. And I'll explain to you why I would love to see the Epstein files released. I do not believe it's a top priority. Quentin Lucas even said this morning on the show, you go around town, people are not talking about the Epstein files. Promise you that. But I'll spend a couple of minutes on it here because we got 4 hours to work with, and I haven't talked about it yet. So yesterday, House Oversight Democrats received new emails from Jeffrey Epstein's estate that they say raise serious questions about Donald Trump and his knowledge of Epstein's horrific crimes. They then write here, read them for yourself. It's time to end this cover-up and release the files. Now, before we go any further, Democrats had everything on Epstein during Joe Biden's time in office. They did nothing with it. You're telling me that Donald Trump is running for the White House. They claim he's an existential threat to democracy. They've got the Epstein emails, and they can't figure out a way during the campaign to tie Trump to Epstein. They don't do anything with him. And now Trump's in office, and they're suddenly like, whoa, oh my God, whoa, look at the emails. Just use your own common sense here. Even if you're a Democrat, it doesn't matter to me. Use your common sense and ask yourself, all the emails they had for the last several years, they couldn't find anything on Trump. And now they're trying to tie Trump to Epstein now that he's in office. Make it make sense. And notice how they do it on the day that the government shutdown is set to end. Why? Because they want to move on from the shutdown. This is all political optics. They want no part of talking about the shutdown and the fact that they largely did cave on the shutdown. So now let's move on from that. Let's go to Epstein. Here we go. So here's an important part of the emails. What did they do in the emails that they released? They redacted the victim's name in a couple of these emails. One email reads from 2011 from Jeffrey Epstein. I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Victim, name redacted, spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Another email. Victim's name redacted, Mar-a-Lago. Trump said he asked me to resign. Never a member ever. Of course he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine Maxwell to stop. Now, here's what's interesting. Why would Democrats redact the name? One of the names of the victim in the emails released yesterday they redacted was Virginia Giuffre. Who is she? She's the lady who died last year. Or, gosh, that was this year, wasn't it? Yeah, that was this year that she died. She was 41 years old. She died by suicide. Why would they redact her name? Giuffre had testified multiple times that President Trump did nothing and that she never even saw him at Epstein's house. That's the name of the victim that they redacted in their release of the emails yesterday. And the other emails, well, Epstein's admitting that Trump booted him. People have been misleading with these. They're trying to change the narrative. And then there's this. You've got this from Tim Burchett. He is a member of Congress in Tennessee. And I want to share with you something that he said yesterday when he talked about how he wants to get the Epstein files released. And guess what? The other party's blocking them. Here we go.
Hey, everybody. Tim Burchett in Washington, D.C. today, of course, trying to open up the government. But I tried to make them release the Epstein files, and I was blocked by the Democrats. This is all gamesmanship, folks. It's not about releasing the files. If they had something on Trump, they would have released it. Biden had it for 4 years, and they hate Trump more than anything in the world. And so now they blocked it, and so they can piecemeal the truth and the half-truths, both sides, of what really went down with Epstein. And it's kind of disgusting, really. But, well, I tried. That's all I can tell you.
That is Republican Tim Burchett saying, I wanted to release the files and my political opponents blocked it. Ask yourself why that might be. They want to figure out a way to use this against Trump and beat him up over it. And I will say it's kind of been a thorn in Trump's side. I don't think it's the thing that's going to hurt the GOP in the midterms. It's big online, okay? If you live online, then you'll think that the Epstein files are like the most important thing ever. In a perfect world, I'd love to see him released. But I also, and I said this months ago, I think a big part of this for Trump is that there are names that will come out of people who will have done nothing wrong. Because anybody and everybody in that world, in that Palm Beach world, had ties to Jeffrey Epstein socially and had nothing to do with all the craziness that was going on down there. But their lives could be ruined as well in all this. I think Trump full well knows that there's nothing on him in any of this. Because if there was, they would have used it on the campaign. They would have used it. And they wouldn't have these redacted emails that when you think about who the victim actually is, who has actually defended Trump, they wouldn't use those names of those people. If there was actually really solid information against this guy on these Epstein files. Now, is it possible that there are maybe Trump's friends in there that could end up looking bad even if they did nothing wrong? Sure. Is it personal? I guarantee you that Trump knows a lot of the people in the files because it was Palm Beach. But if you're talking about ruining people's lives when you can't guarantee and get firm evidence that they were deeply involved in pedophilia, that is a dangerous road to go down. And I believe that for him, that's what this is really about. But in a perfect world, do I want to know who's in that list on these files? Who knew what? Absolutely. Does it look bad for the entire federal government and for some of the most powerful people in the country? Yeah, it does. But is it the thing that's going to sink Republicans in the midterms? No. Okay, people are trying to pay their bills, trying to buy a house, all right, trying to figure out how to afford groceries. If you are hyper online, you will think this is the thing. I promise you it's not the thing. It's not. And with the way it was handled yesterday, the careful coordination on the emails that came out yesterday, I mean, CNN did 10 minutes on it yesterday morning in their morning program. The day the government's finally set to open up, longest shutdown in history, 43 days, and they've already pivoted off of the story of the shutdown to Jeffrey Epstein trying to tie it to Trump. Ask yourself why. Just use that common sense that I know every single one of you have, no matter who you voted for and how you prefer to see the politics play out of the day. Doesn't matter. You know it, and I know it. And that's what this in large part is all about.